Hi, I'm June Hawley, and today I'm going to talk about networks. But first, maybe I'll tell you a little bit about myself. For about 25 years, I helped start up and led an organization called AceNet in the Appalachian part of Ohio. And this organization was based on principles of networking. We helped, many hundreds of people, most of them low income, start businesses. And we had very few resources, so we helped them network with each other and help each other out. And many of them were food businesses, and they bought jars together. They took things to market together. They helped each other develop new products. Very exciting. And then we networked many of the businesses and organizations such as banks and other nonprofits, networked them to these entrepreneurs so that they could work on collaborative projects to build a more effective support structure. So they designed regional brands with these entrepreneurs. They developed new kinds of loan funds and so forth. Very exciting project. The interesting thing was that before we started this organization, I had stumbled upon sort of what was called complexity science and the study of networks. And so much of what we were doing was based on that ever-expanding body of knowledge that I found very exciting. And one thing that I've always been able to do is read some of that very difficult scientific literature and translate it so people could better understand. And that's why I use the word networks a lot, because it's very accessible. We all basically, have this gut understanding of what networks are. But then what I found out is that if you scratch the surface of that word, we don't really know. We don't know how to form very healthy networks. We don't know how to really make networks work not only for ourselves but for others and communities. And so I became very passionate about trying to articulate what it was that made a network really healthy and effective. And so since I retired from AceNet 3 years ago, I've been working now with many different kinds of mostly organizations, mostly communities, where people were trying to create cross-organizational networks. And so I've worked for the United Nations, trying to help organizations in West Africa and the Caribbean network more effectively. I've worked with lots of different Latino communities. I've even been working with hospitals where they're trying to use network understanding to be able to get rid of MRSA, the penicillin-resistant staph infection. So now I've had all these different experiences where, I've been helping people understand about networks. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about what I've been learning. It's a very emergent field and something I think that we all need to work on developing together. But I'm going to just give a start to that base of knowledge. And I call it sort of a combination. Network building is sort of a combination of an art and an understanding and set of skills. So today I'm going to talk mostly about network weaving, and that's the term that we've coined to describe the set of skills and practices that enable a network to be more effective and that make networks have more possibility in them. And so the first thing that we learned is that if you really want to create a more effective network, you have to really have a deeper understanding of that network. You have to, what Balderas Krebs calls, know the net. And so we do that a number of ways. And one of the fun ways is to map the network. And we actually create surveys. I have a web-based survey form that then people take and ask, who are you working with? Who do you get new ideas from? Who would you like to work with? And then we map that, and then people can see, oh dear, these two groups are not even talking to each other. They're missing out on so much. And then you think of a strategy to bring those two groups together, and that makes your network more effective in most cases. So know the net. Now, you don't have to have software. You can simply lots of times I take groups and have them draw on a big piece chart paper, draw their network with circles for all the different people and organizations, and then start drawing lines to show the connections. And that's very effective in helping you. What you're trying to do is really change what you're noticing. And all of a sudden, when you do those kinds of drawings, you start noticing who's relating to whom, who's not here at the table, who doesn't know anyone else in the room. So, for example, people discover that they're trying to deal with poverty, and there's no poor people in the network. How are they going to come up with a solution that really works? So we see that a lot of the problems we've been struggling with for so many years haven't been solved because the network that the solution is coming out of is inadequate and missing key people. So knowing the network. One piece then, to get this really down personal, when you start thinking about your network, whether it's you as an individual or business owner or an organization, that one of the first pieces is that you need to start going out and talking to your network. So you have all these people who are your friends and your coworkers, but how much do you really know about them? Do you know enough about them to really engage them well in your network? So one of the first things that we do in network weaving is that help people go out and listen and ask questions of people in their network. One of the best ways you can get your network better is to sit down, have coffee with 5 of your friends and say, okay, tell me about your network. And then out of the hundreds of people that they know, you're going to find some that, wow, would you introduce me to them, because they're going to make my network so much more effective. So, listening, and it's not just listening, but you're trying to find out particularly about people's gifts. What are they really good about? Their passions. What are they really excited about? Because when you engage somebody in something they're really passionate about, you're going to get so much more energy and attention from them than if you kind of ask them to do something that they're not really that excited about. So another piece of that is about what I call, just really acutely knowing someone, understanding and accepting who they are. So instead of meeting someone and feeling like, oh, I can't trust them because they have different views than I do, being able to say, oh, I see that person has this set of beliefs. That's different from me. But boy, isn't that wonderful? That's going to help provoke my thinking. I see that this person is somebody who they're never on time to a meeting. Well, instead of criticizing or judging them because of that, just saying, okay, that's the way that person is right now. I'm just going to be very smart and not ask them to do something that requires timeliness. But boy, that person's so creative. Whenever I have a brainstorming session, I'm going to make sure that they're there because they're very generative. So you get to know people and you know their strengths and you draw them in to your network projects, which we'll talk about in a minute, based on their strengths, not on their weaknesses. And it's amazing how liberating this is, because then all of a sudden you realize you can't trust everybody about something. You maybe can't trust anybody about everything, but as long as you can know you're very strategic in your understanding of where you can trust somebody, and that enables you to have many, many, many more people can be a resource. It's a very exciting field to be thinking about networks and how they can become much more effective. Just looking forward to exploring this further, both myself and with others. So thank you.